Okay, so I'm going to kind of get things arranged a little bit. See if I can get that glare to reduce that glare just a little bit. Yeah, that's not working. Um, Not sure how to get this down. Okay, so the target is was Area 51, and I'll go over some conditions that I set for this target. First off, Area 51 is front loaded, and it's like F5. That's on a scale of 1 to 5, 5 being the most front loaded. So basically, I mean, I grew up with Area 51, and I grew up with all the folklore, and I listen to all the stories, and I get people in the military telling me things. And I mean, I've heard all the stories. Um, so uh, I'm Jeff, and screaming into the night. I have a small remote viewing company, basically. Um, I'm not what you would call an actual remote viewer. I'm more of a person with unusual skills. Um, so never been formally trained. I've never had any formal teachers. I just basically did my own thing. So I know CRV and all the different RV types have different protocol that they follow. I do kind of like a cowboy version that I put down on paper what I see, or in this case, I put down on the whiteboard. So for better or for worse, this is what you're going to get. You're going to be watching. You're going to be watching me as I go over Area 51 and tell you what I see. Right off the bat, we're gonna throw away anything to do with aliens or, um, you know, any UFOs because I spent all day running around and driving around and digging in ditches, and I've been thinking about it all day. And I mean, yeah, aside from the unusual feedback I get every time I think about it, Area 51 is interesting to say the least. But yeah. So the other thing that was brought to my attention were Dugway Proving Grounds in Utah. I don't know where Dugway Proving Grounds in Utah is. I have no idea what it refers to. I'm assuming that there's a large open expanse where the military goes and plays with toys. And hopefully they're going to do a better job than they did over at Area 51 with waste disposal, because that's the biggest problem right now with Area 51 that I can see. I mean, like I said, I've been driving around all day, kind of probing it and looking at it, and it's like there's areas where there's huge plumes. Well, let me tell you real quick. So here's ground level, right? So you got buildings, you got stuff, and you got cool things here, and you have this huge plume, and there's some seriously toxic stuff in there. It's like, what did they do? Did they just say, hey, I've got this bucket of highly carcinogenic material. I want you to go over to the next sand dune and dump this stuff in and don't worry about it. Maybe throw a match in there for good reason. It's like, I, I'm in construction and I know what plumes look like. I see it all the time with waste, with chemicals, with paint, with everything. This is, I don't know what they were building out there, but this is bad news bears. I mean, there's enough zines in here to light up a Christmas tree, and benzene, fluoro, chloro, God knows what. It's like, you've got a bucket, 5 gallon bucket full of electrical parts washing fluid. Oh, what are you going to do with it? Oh, let's take it out back and throw it on the ground. So one of the main things I saw when I'm previewing this is okay, is the fact that there's just this enormous plume out there, and it's not just one; it's like multiple spots. So it's like they had a really big, nasty one that was solvents and some sort of oily substance. So there's a big one, and then there's a lot of secondary ones. There's like ash pits where they burn fibrous material. I mean, it looks like fibrous material. So you have ash pits in different areas, and these are like, you know just back in the day. I used to take my garbage out and I used to burn it. I mean, papers and stuff. You have a pit, you throw your paper in there, you light it on fire, and it go away. But again, I don't know what they're burning. It's it's got black sticky residue, and by that I mean, so if you take certain plastics and you burn them, it forms a liquid soluble almost waste. And if you pour something like paint thinner on it or an oil on it, it'll actually strip this soot or chemical release, and then it'll kind of like go through and then down and out. So whatever it is, whatever it was, has a small footprint here in this big. Kind of, it's kind of cool. I mean, I try to keep anybody under the age of, I don't know, 60 out of there just because you're really reducing your lifespan. But, that's not a big issue. So this is what I was looking at when I was driving around. I wasn't looking at the underground uh, buildings or offices or whatever the hell they are. I wasn't looking at the underground storage where they have large things parked in there. And, I mean, it was a training grounds. It was a research where they were doing research on stuff. So you have a lot of large rooms and you have a lot of empty bays. I mean, I might try to count how many levels it is, but it goes ways down. A lot of underground area though, which is kind of surprising because I know it's when you go underground, you have to take everything into account from the soil type to how and what you're trying to do. Because I know they're trying to bring material and stuff up and then out. So the how they were doing it was kind of strange. I'm not quite sure because I can't quite see how they're doing it. So as far as the underground facility, it's just a rabbit warren of large and small. So you have small and large tied together. And, it's just usable space underground. From what I've been told over the years of the Area 51, it's basically They use it for storage. They use it for non non-essential stuff. Anything that has high priority, they've moved out of there. So storming Area 51 would have been absolutely silly because there's nothing of importance in there. They have a couple high value containers in there, which I don't quite understand what a container is or why it's high value and why they haven't moved it. But there are down in the lower recesses and in some of the back areas, they have obviously military high value containers, and they're large, they're stainless, they have uh, compressors, they have, it looks like a cold storage container. So maybe they got some biological material in there. I don't know if it's alien or if it's just maybe there's a working platform there for bugs, for uh, making sure that they can have access to, well, hell, I don't know, something to do with biologic material in a storage container. And it's a fairly large container. And I don't see it's not like a square refrigerator where you can pull petri dishes out. It's more of a rounded, like about, it's like a row of these things, right? So there's a row of these things in there. All right. So this has been some of the lower levels of the facility. So that, it just goes, it's a rabbit warren. They have, they have like a little, they've got power, power generation. They got sewage facilities, water, air. So, and the main thing is with the air, because it's such a critical thing in this kind of development where you have seriously toxic chemicals. They had a really efficient air system. So I got to admit, this because this is so big and so spread. I mean, it goes for a long ways. They had a really efficient air system, which is kind of funny because it's contaminated. So it had a lot of stuff in there that I wouldn't want floating around. I know I have issues when I deal with certain products in houses. I can't imagine being in this place where you've got a high pressure system pushing air through this material and the material being torn off the interior portions of the uh, thing and being brought down into where you're working or doing stuff. But I mean, this is military guys. This is what they're trained for. Um, the civilian side, well, they're just kind of out of luck. So I guess there's two types of users that were in here that civilians. No, I don't know any of this for sure. And there's military. These are the known. The unknown was the operatives. I'm assuming I'm assuming the three-letter acronyms that deal with day-to-day mundanity, mundane stuff like, let's keep things secret and let's keep everybody in order. So these two had known directives. Basically, it's let's keep, we're working on top secret projects. Let's keep everything low key, make sure it's all out of sight. Let's make sure nobody knows about what we're doing. One hand washes the other. Then you had this group working with these guys, making sure that there's a division or I don't know what you would call it. The civilians and the military were kind of separate, which, again, understandable. Um, but I'm not really sure what their goal was. So other than being independent by whatever flavor of the day is running them, I'm sure they had good reasons to do what they did, and it looks like they ran for a long time. I mean, back in my days, back in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, the Area 51 had a reputation. And before that, when it was a training ground and where they were building top secret stuff, it was oh good, my co-pilot's here. Yeah, don't worry about it, man. It's rock and roll. So I have a co-pilot that's with me, and he's going to be asking me questions and making sure everything's okay. So if you guys happen to see something that needs to be taken care of, let me know. My co-pilot will also be watching. You can let him know too by, writing on the screen or whatever. All right. One of the main things I see is the fact that this military base is just massively contaminated. I see massive long chain molecules in the ground, in the air, in the soil, every aspect of this building. This thing is heavily contaminated. I oh, black forest. Nope. Thank you. Uh how's that? Okay. So yeah, I didn't catch that. Sorry about that, man. So Area 51 to me looks like a very large industrial waste site. There's minimal activity there, basically storage for things that are not going to get hurt by the long chains, not going to get hurt by the radiation, not going to get hurt by the asbestos and other nasty stuff that's floating around in there. The facility is needing repairs, and there are a lot of uh, what I would call dead areas where things have been broken or not fixed. So bit cut off the bottom, right? Let me fix that. How's that? Can you? Yeah, you can read that, can't you? So air, water, sewage, power generation. All right. So aside from these big storage container, aside from the separate rooms, which some do still have equipment in there, um, my main driving factor on this base is the fact that it's got massive plumes of poison, which at some point have to be addressed. And the actual Area 51 seems to be a cover or a look at this. There's Area 51. It's amazing. Now it's still a functional, at least I think it is. I'm pretty sure it's a functional airbase. And I know they do testing. I know they do military maneuvers in there. So all these are known. This is known to me. And when I look at Area 51 and I see the different type of people running around in there, because they still do have civilians and military and the operatives still go in there occasionally. I don't see a lot of activity. I don't see a lot of, you know, manufacturing per se. I see little odds and ends. I see guards. I see motion. I see sensors up the wazoo. I see electrical stuff being, big hangars with gear and hardware in there. Massive overflights by satellite. So you've got a lot of satellites watching this area. So you have satellites that look like they're using ground radar to, oh, I think it's ground. It's whatever that. So the satellite puts out a beam the beam hits the ground, travels down X amount of distance, and then as the beam comes back, the return or response rate is recorded. And I'm pretty sure it's called LiDAR. I don't really know. Anyways, you've got a lot of satellites doing that, but I mean, it's just an old military base with not a lot going on. The the biotanks are kind of interesting, but again, I'm not quite sure what these Dewar flasks are for. So they have they must have done animal testing in there because they have walled off areas where they had small and large cages. So I would say for both, maybe if they arrested somebody, they'd throw somebody in that large cage. But they had areas that were look like restraining areas. The wife, a better answer, so give me 1 second. Okay. Um, all right. Anyways, where was I? Abandoned military base. So it's basically an abandoned military base. Everybody thinks Area 51 has current stuff in there, and I don't think it does. Alternative Universe Vatican. I don't know what that means. I don't know. You're gonna have to clue me in on what that means, there, Copilot, because I don't know what that means. So, all right. So Area 51 has cool stuff. I mean, I would I would kill to go in there. I think it would be absolutely fantastic. There's bright glowy areas. There's areas with energy signatures that I don't recognize, and there's oh, all right. So I don't know what these energy signatures are, or what they're for. There seems to be some sort of communication device that I don't recognize. It's not your standard high energy radio wave, so maybe it's a low Earth signal because it seems to transfer through the ground just as readily as it does through the air. So maybe they do still have operational facilities in there that are clean and okay to use. Because I mean, it's not like they stop using it completely, but it's still in use. So, but I don't see anything of interest now because I'm not looking at alien stuff. I'm not looking at alien tech. I'm not going back in time and going, oh yeah, that's where they stored the bodies. These are just Dewar flasks. I don't see anything much more than small amounts of biological. And then biological could be, I don't know, something very common. And it could be just Dewar flasks full of nitrogen. Um, Nitrogen's used as a cleaning solvent, so maybe they ladle it out when they want to clean something really quick. Um, yeah, yeah. Just go ahead and just glance at that chat. So, anyways, I don't see a lot going on currently at Area 51. I see. So if I go back in time, right? So if I go back in time when it was back and it was an actual military base where they were actually constructing and testing stuff. So I guess it'd be before then. That was back in the what, 60s and 70s. So if I go back before then, what storage, testing, and building. So they, again, so the storage and testing and building went on for a long time. But I don't know what I'm looking for specifically to. Uh, I don't see in a time or an event that would jump out at me that supposedly everything got shipped to this area at some point. All the high-end software and all the mechanical goods that were supposed to be back building, and which is very possible. But again, it also had a lot of the Russian military stuff, high end. I think it's French and German, possibly English high end stuff over there they're playing with. I don't recognize the military hardware and I don't recognize anything about it. I just know that they had access to and were playing with some pretty interesting stuff. Um, the I guess is it Bob Lazar supposedly worked there and saw the cruisers and the other drones. So that was, I don't remember what year he said that was. So that was supposed to be what, in the 70s? So okay, so if I look back in the 70s and I say, hey, I want to look at this particular time for a sports cruiser. The sports cruiser was a smaller model that supposedly Bob Lazar had access to on the Colorado mountain range. my my co-pilot said another interesting target would be the Colorado mountain range. Yeah, no, that's been there, done that. Yeah, it is interesting. Uh, they got some cool stuff over there, by the way. So the sports cruiser. The funny thing about this is when I sit here and think about and look at this place, I get a lot of I guess you would call it pressure. Uh, so when I sit here and I'm looking back and forth through time, I'm trying to see when this section was built, when this section was built. Uh, how full? I mean, this how full was this at one time? What were they working with? I mean, hey, let's take this hardware out for a cruise. Let's take it out here. We're going to take it up and down only. But the funny thing about this is I'm getting pressure, and I mean like intense pressure in my head, which is usually means that somebody's trying to get a hold of me or something. I am not telepathic, so I have no clue what they're trying to say. But every time I do this, every time I think about this, I get this itch. So, if somebody actually wants to call me, huh, I got a phone. Quit trying to push it through my head. Just give me a jingle. So Bob Lazar supposedly worked on one of the three saucers that they had in there in storage that they were trying to back engineer. And they have been moved. They've been taken to different sites and they have been spread around the countries into different areas. How would they do that? Small ones I can understand. You can probably move them east. Fly them? How did they get in the air? So let's say they actually did have a sports cruiser, the smaller model. I mean, it would take a very small person to actually sit inside. Can you get the thing to fly on its own? Is there a remote control? Do you have to actually be operating it, or can you do like I do and stand outside and talk to the controls and then away you go? Do you have to be inside? Does it take two pilots? Um, Yeah, there could be some kind of protection. I mean, remote viewing is just basically, you need to talk to a professional to actually explain what remote viewing is. But when I go there, I'm sure that when you go there, they have somebody like me watching for people like me who like to wander around these places. Just like when I go to any other military aspect, they would have somebody there who can actually detect that kind of thing. Um, and that's the thing is, I don't know if there is any protection against an RV. So if I wanted to go look at something that is very special, what would it take to stop me from deep diving in? So let's say I want to go look at the cruiser. So the sports cruiser is uh, it's the small. I can't even remember what the shape was right now, right? So, anyways, it was the one that Bob Lazar talked about. And had the little the anti-gravity thing that he was supposed to be working on, and they've moved it to a different location with the subway that has kind of like a large area around it. Anyways, it's not here. Um, it'd be kind of fun trying to find that. The whole subway thing to this underground area is interesting because I've seen that subway before, and I know it connects to a lot of different places. So, um, but again, I'm not a really good remote viewer. I have my own special skills, but as far as remote viewing goes, I don't know if I can actually do a solid justice. Is Area 51 occupied? Does it have UFOs? To me, the UFOs were there and they were taken away. So did it at one time? To me, I'm thinking that yes, it did. They had models, they were there, and now they're not there. My question is, how did they get not there? Because one of them I can't see being picked up by choppers and carted away. One of them was pretty big. The one that I see, the big one, had to have flown on its own power to wherever it's gone. And I don't think it would fit in the subway system that I see because the subway system that I do see is definitely not that big. So, um, yeah, so I see a lot of tech in there that could definitely be not ours, not the Russians, and definitely not the Chinese, but is it UFO? I mean, was Bob Lazar there actually looking at a UFO? And that's a good question. Um, I keep coming up against the words he was looking at something. Now, what does that mean? What is he looking at? Oh, the other thing is that the question was some kind of protection they have against RV. I don't think it's protection. I think it's just somebody's curious about what I'm doing. Um, I think somebody's kind of trying to figure out who, what, and why. And I felt it before, and I'm sure I can feel it again. Okay, so at this current time, UFOs are not there. At this current time, you have a toxic waste site with some activity testing other. All right. So I'm thinking Area 51 by itself in the main area. Okay, I'm not talking about the outliers. The outliers are the areas connected to the main. The outliers, and it feels like some of the outliers are anywhere from half a mile up to 5 miles away. So it's kind of like an octopus. So if you're looking down at Area 51 and you're looking at all the little bases and everything else that's there, there's a circle, and you have, I guess this is a valley or some kind, or maybe it's a lake bed. I'm not really sure. I think it's a lake bed, but anyway, you have 4 or 5 outlying areas that are used a lot, that have access to different ways. You have systems that carry you to and from, so they're connected to, but not part of the area 51. I'm not quite sure how big this connection tunnel is or what this purpose is, other than the fact that the outlets are providing something of use for current testing, for development of, and for whatever the military deems it's necessary for. I mean, I don't see anything clandestine or unusual other than the fact that these are hidden things that the general public doesn't need to know. General public doesn't need to know. Anyways, I don't know what they use these outliers for. I really truly don't. I mean, it's got staff, it's got security, it's got fresh eyes, it's got connections to, and I have no clue what it's for. And I don't understand why on this side and this side I'm not so much over here and here. So if I was to put a, here, let's do this. Let's do this. All right. So if I was going to put a north, south, east, west on the valley, all right. So I guess it's northwest, southeast. Um, I'll have to look at. I'll have to look if that makes. So I don't know why it would be this particular direction. So one end of the arms is facing northwest, the other end of the, such, these two down here would be facing southeast, right? I think so. It's not north south. It's at an angle like this. So I'll have to look on the map and see if I'm where these things are, because maybe Google Map will show me the area and I can actually discern more from where these outliers are and how far away they are. Because I know like one of them's like way the hell away and the other one's fairly close, and I'm not quite sure why. Um, but yeah, no interesting data here. It's all old school stuff. It's all, I'm gonna take a picture. Yeah, they do have security there. Yeah, they do have people watching it, and they have activity there that is questionable. So, wow, what the hell is that? Okay, so that's Area 51. Area 51 is, in my eyes, had something of interest, it's gone. You have bits and pieces of something interesting, but for the most part, yeah, not there. Uh, this is all garbage. Yeah, that toxic plume, man. I tell you what, from a contractor standpoint, from my standpoint, when I'm sitting out there, I don't even have to get. You don't have to be a remote viewer to see this. You can feel it. I mean, it's like they were dumping something that is just nasty. And I have no clue what this is because I mean, every time I get close to it, and every time I can feel it or feel it in my lungs, it's like a very heavy, oily substance, and I want to say it's a parts washer or a degreaser or something. Whatever this chemical is, whatever this long chain is, it is seriously nasty. And they've used it for a long time, so this plume is huge. And I don't understand because they had protocol. They must have had protocol. I mean, I can't imagine. Yeah, I don't. You know, normally I'd say they'd have protocol in place, and everybody's stuck to the book. Man, I've been working construction way too long. That place is contaminated. You would not want to. You would not want to go there. Anyways, the other place was Dugway Proving Grounds. Dugway Proving Grounds is again. Dudley Proving Grounds is just basically testing, training, storage, testing. So what do Dugway Proving Grounds look like? So, okay, so let's say I want to look at Dugway's Proving. I want to go ground level. I want to look at the mountain ranges. I want to look at the topography. I want to look at the. So let's look at the buildings first. What does the Proving Grounds look like? I gotta go smaller. Okay, the one of interest is a big, um, kind of looks like a metal concrete, maybe, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it feels like a metal ribbed designed to carry snow or something. It's designed for weight. God, I almost want to say it's like a concrete too, but I know it can't be concrete. I mean, they couldn't have shot the blast concrete off. But it feels like a metal. It feels like a great big metal structure is what it feels like. Now, I don't know if it's actually metal, but cavern is huge. And inside of that, you have all sorts of functions. You've got a raising and lowering area. You've got storage. You've got tunnels. You've got again the subway system thing. The subway system thing is really cool. So they actually have a way to transport fairly large objects quite a ways using some sort of dropping system that drops it into a lower area and then down tracks. So that's really cool. Um, that is primary focus. Why can't I see the other buildings? So if you have like office buildings, you have a big rounded structure, you have um, I want to say it looks like an airport almost. Trying to draw this the best I can as the pictures come in. So when I do this, I don't ever get to see the whole thing at once. It's like little bits, little bits, little bits. Primary right now is this structure in the middle. I don't know why this structure in the middle is so important. The secondary building is more like an office, and it's multi-story. The funny thing is this has a U shape to it. It's like this is a U-shaped building. Why is this building U-shaped? Uh, I I don't know. I just I'm looking at looks like something on the ground here. Maybe it's aircraft. Maybe it's vehicles. I'm not really sure what this is. So there's a bunch of stuff lined up over here. We have tanks. Where the hell are the tanks? Let's see. There's tanks over here. I want to say there's smaller buildings here, but I'm not 100% sure. This could all be completely wrong, but at this point, I don't care. I'm going to go for it. I'll have to look this up on Google Map. Okay, so anyways, this feels like a U-shaped building, and I don't know why it feels like a U-shaped building. You have a lot of people in here doing a lot of common things. You have pencil pushers, you have military, commercial, other, some sort of media, other. I don't know what the two different others are. So the groups that are in this building are doing something. The commercial side uh, is doing commercial aspects of whatever this is. So it's like the military and the commercial side are working together. So that's kind of they're working on something together to I'm sure if this is a proving ground, I'm sure they've got all sorts of really cool drone warfare and they've got really cool artillery. Again, it'd be something really cool to go look at for just doing this remote viewing. I mean, I'm seeing a lot of work done on stuff that is not visible normally to the public. So that would be, the high tech end of whatever military, Raytheon and Lockheed and all the other cool names. So that's kind of cool. I mean, basically a bunch of working stiffs working in this U-shaped building. Um, I don't understand the media aspect. Why did they have the media there? What is the media? It's like these people are directly tied to news sources, Facebook, Reddit, Discord. They're tied to all this TikTok, Ideogram, or Instagram, or whatever the hell it's called. Why are they tied to media? That's kind of cool. It doesn't matter. So they have a large media presence, and then they have. So again, the two different others. I don't know what the others do. I'm assuming they have something to do with national security or completely separate from the military aspect. So this is the non-military. Now, see, I'm not getting nearly as much pushback here from Dudley as I did from the other place. Why am I not getting pushback? Giant burn pits. That's what it is. It's the burn pits. Yeah, they just took the material. They took it out and threw it on the ground and took a match to it. Yeah. Ah, yeah. I used to love doing that. You give me 20 gallons of diesel and a blackberry bush, couple tires, just make it fun. Okay. So, anyways, yeah, the the burn pit is they must have had solid chunks in it too, because in the burn pits where they were actually burning the liquid that would burn, because not always liquid would burn. In the burn pits, you see this like fibrous residue. So they must have been thrown in chunks of like carbon fiber. What is this? Okay, hold on one sec. Somebody's. Huh. So okay. So anyways, the burn pits were cool. The plume though is something completely different. And some weird shit going on. Anyways, I don't have nearly the pushback here. So why don't I have the Area 51? I have pushback. I have actual headaches. I have actual push. Why don't I have oh my God. Somebody sent a picture of me on the toilet, uh, trying not to fall or trying to take a shit and squeezing one out. I'm sorry, trying to take a poop, squeezing one out. It is awesome. I have got to post this somewhere because this is great. I absolutely love it. Man, I tell you what, I would like to get it. I would like to get that framed. That's so cool. Oh my God, I love it. Anyways, uh, oh wow. So, anyways, somebody doxed me on one of the export channels, and they did a really good job. I really like it. I want to know it. I give it two thumbs up. Two thumbs up, or in my case, a thumb and pin and a thumb up. So, I don't get the pushback from the Dugway Proving Ground. So yeah, we got high tech crap in here. Yeah, we have stuff that they're looking at tearing apart and focusing on. Is there UFOs in here? I don't know. I don't. I don't see any areas other than these, where the subway connects to off to the side. I wonder where that subway goes to. So again, this has the subway, which goes quite a distance to different areas, and I don't know where it's all connected to. So the Dugway Proving Grounds is connected to other military aspects and other commercial aspects along its route. So I don't know how deep this is, and I don't know what it's used for other than going from point A to point B. So for all I, I'm kind of wondering if this is how they can ferry people in and out without being seen, much like this, that private Air Force jet or private jet that went to Area 51 for years. This is something very similar to that, where it just ferries people in and out, or people and material. So the subway would be a good place to follow. If somebody can follow how they built that or where it goes to, which military base it goes to, which commercial aspect. Um, but I'm not getting the push like I did Area 51. Area 51, I had a very severe push. Don't look at me. This, I don't have that. I have a much more friendly, you know, here it is. Here's these people. They're working on something very important. you have these groups of people that are watching and making sure that these people are working on something very important. But it doesn't feel hostile and it doesn't feel nearly as hidden. And it's almost kind of like it's a whole different situation. So, uh, so as far as the Dugway Proving Grounds, as far as working on UFOs and other stuff, let's say they're getting material in and they're actually working on some of the small drones and stuff that they're bringing in. So if I'm going to look for a small drone, would it be here? No, I don't think it would be here. I think it'd be in one of the satellite areas. So I think that's why the commercial and the military are working so hard together, so closely together, because you definitely don't want here. This is where they're testing the the whatever aspects new hardware. If they're going to do reverse engineering of existing known or unknown material, they would take it off site to somewhere else. I think this is pretty much the testing area of known. I'm trying to get a feel for how far away do I have to go before I get that push again. The don't look at me, I'm not here push. And it seems like it's quite a ways. I don't think it's on this base. Personally, I think this base would be much more along the lines of the material comes in and is spread out to wherever it's going to go. So they bring it here, evaluate it, do what they can, and then take it elsewhere. But I don't think this is going to be. They have some big storage areas down below, but I don't know if they've got stuff big enough for what needs to be. That'd be kind of cool. Um, yeah. Let me pull up a Let me pull up a map on Google Earth for uh, oh shit. Okay. Why can't I pull something up? Dugway Proving Grounds. Yeah, somebody asked me about our my co-pilot asked me about the Colorado stuff, and there's so many fun places in Colorado to look at. Military bases and silos, and I mean, it's just a paradise. If I want to go look at something cool, that would be my first place to go. Dugway Proving Grounds. Okay, so it would be interesting to see what's in those beer containers. There's that U shape. There it is. Huh. Wow. It's just wide open nothing. So where does the subways go? I don't get it. I mean, I don't know. Okay, let's try this one more time. Proving grounds. See, I'm seeing the Dugway Proving Grounds School Age Center Dugway headquarters. Where's the Air Force Base? Where's this road and equipment? I mean, that's not what I thought was a friggin' airfield is not an airfield. It looks like a friggin' highway. I don't get it. I don't know what the proving grounds are. There's that commercial. Okay, so now I see a lot more stuff. It's just I don't know. I don't know what I'm looking at. The underground aspect of this is kind of amazing. The subway system that leads it to different locations is kind of cool. But I have all three of these. All where would all these people be? I mean, what building is this in? I don't know. Supposedly, Dugway Proving Grounds has some sort of thing, but I just don't feel the definitely not some of the bigger cruisers or anything. And I don't see any place where they can stash a little one. But then again, I don't know. I don't know what to look for anyways. So, but man, that place is sprawling. That is huge. It's salt flats. I bet you they have a good time out in that salt flat. Okay. Anyways, Dugway Proving Ground, interesting. No pushback, no no real feel. Oh, there's the Air Force Base. Or yeah, that's an Air Force Base. So where's the that's shipping? Hmm. Where's that U-shaped building over here? I wonder if that's it. That's okay. Um, I don't know. I see the Air Force Base now, and I see it's out in the middle of a what looks like a dry lake bed. So I don't know. I don't know what I'm looking at here, and I don't know where exactly this would be other than near the airport. At least I'm assuming it's the airport. And it would be interesting. But underneath that, there's transportation and there's all sorts of cool shit. So cool stuff. Sorry. It would be interesting. All right. Let me get rid of this. Hold on for 1 second. Okay. All right. So that was cool. That was really cool. Can't seem to pull up my Copilot anymore. I don't know why. Hmm. Okay, so when I did Area 51, I don't see much of anything. I see stuff in the past, but I don't see anything there. You guys are looking for interesting and exciting. They've got it stashed away. I mean, the last place I've seen UFOs was in a high altitude. I I wouldn't say hangar. It's more like a let's just call it a high desert area. Uh, rocky, um, semi-steep terrains. We're talking like foothills rather than peaks. So there are peaks in the background, but the where they have some of the cruisers and some of the ships, they have them in bases or areas that are underground that have things that open. Not Area 51, not I can't see it around this Dugway Proving Ground. It would be nice to actually do a locate, have a bunch of people get together and do a locate on where the existing ones are. Um, I'm not very good at locating. Like I said, I'm not a very good remote viewer for different aspects. Um, but we do have quality remote viewers who can actually locate. So if we all got together and we all used our skills, we could probably get a actual general location to go look for said basic. So that'd be nice to kind of find one. I just think looking in these two areas is going to be a no-go. The other aspect of that would be to talk to the commercial side. The commercial side seems interesting. In fact, I think the commercial side is more interesting than the military side. The military side is cut off. It's like a chicken without a head. It can function and live for at least a little while, but it has no brain. Whereas the commercial side is using the resources given to it to gather and increase on what the military is trying to hide. So it's kind of cool. I mean, instead of looking at area, oh, the blue room. Shit, I knew there's something else to look at. All right, let me take a picture of this and we'll look at the blue room. I don't know what that means, but we're going to look at it. All right. Okay, I'm trying to pull you back up here, Copilot, so give me a second. Gotta figure out where you went. Okay. Um, all right. Blue room. Let's look at the blue. Why do they call it the blue room? So I want to look at the blue room, right? The blue room is a room. It's cool. It's, of course, it's blue room. I see. It's filtered. Right. Oh, for low humidity. Humidity. Okay, cool. Glass partition. It's like really thick glass here, yet it's not really thick here, or it's open. I don't understand this concept. So I'm looking at really thick glass and then I'm looking at open. So I don't know how to draw this. I wanted to do an ideogram and I'm just having like oh. So I got thick line. I don't know if there's a door here or not. I can't see a door. I can't see something. I don't know what this is. Right. So the room, I have a wall. I have a partitioned off area that seems to have really thick glass on one side. I have a chair. It's a very uncomfortable chair. Another chair. And these are like chairs that you punish people with. They're very uncomfortable. They're not comfortable chairs, right? Bird, stuff on the bird. Okay, so I have chairs, I have a cart, I have partition, filtered air, bio. So it's got some sort of air filtering for, I mean, down very low, they're scrubbing air. Sure how it works. I almost want to say it's a rounded wall. I mean, like a folding or rounded. I can't describe to you what this wall is. It's almost like it's a folding wall or a rounded wall, and but it's just the weirdest sensation of the wall can be drawn across or pulled open. So um, I don't know. I don't know what that is. So the blue room. I mean, what's it function now? What's its function then? I mean, what was the blue room for first place? I mean, other than isolation, making sure that there's everything's in place. How about ensure safety? So we're gonna ensure safety. What? We have visitors here, and what are they trying to ensure the safety of? Why did they try to isolate? Is this like an operating room where you had people on the outside of that glass that were watching? What is this section here that's partitioned off? I mean, it's like this room keeps going, but they separate it. And then why is this area here? Um, yeah, something about this room is not making sense as far as why it's designed like that. It's almost like somebody can watch something going on over here, and all they do is they pull this curtain back and forth to separate. Yet they have this thick glass here to prevent something. So I mean, I don't know what do we got. So again, let's say it's for biological testing. They want to get something in there they want to biologically test. They don't have the air scrubbers to handle it other than these are positive suction. So they have positive suction out. So everything's going into, so they're not trying to keep or prevent this place being sterile. They want to keep that place. Oh, they want to keep that place so nothing comes out here. So let's just say it's for biological, which would make sense. You run it through, you run the air through some filters, you scrub it really good, you hit it with bleach. Bob's your uncle. I don't see anything other than I see occupancy. I see people standing here at the window. I see everybody's gone, standing at the window. This is pulled back, people walking through, whole thing getting scrubbed, emptied, scrubbed. There's just very little full-time use. So uh, is this like a simple isolation chamber? Is this where something's kept? Is there biological hazards in this room where they're trying to make sure that it's filtered out? I don't know what a current, you know, bio chamber looks like. I'm sure this one's kind of old. Um, so, um, functional chairs. The chairs literally look, because they're uncomfortable chairs, the chairs literally look like, oh yeah, let me get you a chair so you can sit down while we're getting things prepped. It really looks like afterthoughts. They're not comfortable chairs. These are not chairs designed for normal people. They're chairs designed for get the job done and sit down. The cart, on the other hand, has like equipment on it. It has built-ins. It has like a power unit. It has like a soldering station. It has all these tools that I recognize, along with a bunch of other tools that I don't recognize. That um, there's electronic aspects to it. There's sensors. There's sensor packages. Lots of wires, leads. Um, so I don't know. The blue room does kind of give me a little pushback as far as, you know, when I scroll back and forth through history, when it's occupied, when it's not occupied, but I don't feel the whole general push like I did for Area 51. So I don't know if this is part of Area 51 down in the lower chambers near the Dewar tanks, or if this is, in the one of the outlying buildings or outlying areas. It would be kind of cool to see if there's an outlying area, and this is part of that. So, well, folks, I'm apologize for not seeing, you know, cool stuff. I apologize for not having aliens to, you know, bring out, verify. But Area 51 seems to be a old military base, and Dugway Proving Ground seems to be a kind of like a liaison and interaction between the military and the commercial aspects, because there's a lot of commercial people out there. If you guys are interested in UFOs and stuff, then I would talk to the commercial end and find out who the people are. Check for watchers in there. Well, I guess so my co-pilot wants me to check for watchers in there. I really got it for the watchers. I need to have a person of interest that I want to tie to. I don't see, normally I see when I go out to the desert like this, I'll see the skinny captain with the, whatever, the gut bleed, and I can look around him. But for whatever reason, I don't see the skinny captain and his bleeding gut. I don't know why I don't see, because he should be part of the. Maybe he's isolated from Area 51 and the Dugway Proving Grounds. Whoever this military officer is with the bleeding gut, he should have been part of this, but he seems to be something separate. So, military keeps everything isolated, which is a good thing. But I don't see any watchers in particular in that area. Again, I do feel a lot of pressure at the Area 51. I feel some pressure in the Blue Room. It's just a real solid push, but yeah. So the last person who sat in the chair, the last person who sat in the chair. Are we looking for the higher up, or are we looking for the what looks like a security guard? Let's go for the higher up. Higher up sat there. So the last higher up that sat in that chair, that was there reviewing something, was bored and saying this needs to go or this needs to be done. This needs to be done or terminated or ended or something along the lines of this needs to go. So that's the last person who of any importance that actually sat in that chair. This needs to go. Um, it would be interesting to see how high of a rank this guy is because he seems like he's pretty important. I wonder if he's the guy who shut things down at 51, if that's where the blue room is. So, did he have watchers? Oh yeah, I'm sure he did. He had several that were tied to him, but I don't think they're of any consequence. He was a fairly important military service guy, so I don't know how far up or how important he was, but he did seem to have a few watchers on him. The I don't see anything special about the blue room other than the fact that there was some emotional incidences where it seems like there's times when something happened and there's a lot of consternation or it's it's like high intensity emotions briefly through time. So periods of absolutely nothing, high intensity emotions, nothing, high intensity emotions. It's like a switch was going on and off throughout time. So yeah, no, I'm not going to draw the watchers. I could. I'm not even going to draw the last guy sitting there. That yeah, I just think he terminated the program or event or whatever this is. Um, so and I don't think terminate is the right word. I think the better word would be it was moved or postponed, I guess. So I'm not quite sure what to make of that. All right, guys. Um, if you're watching this, I would highly suggest you condense it down to run it through AI, condense it down to like a 2-page synopsis. And yeah, I got a whole bunch of nothing there. I don't see anything too exciting or anything that's really jaw dropping. So hopefully when the real professionals do this and they actually see something really cool, they can come out with whatever it is. But I think for now I don't see a lot of stuff. So, and maybe somebody can tell me what the blue room is supposed to be. The biological behind the glass? you have multiple people behind the class. So during the times of activity, you have multiple people behind the class, and you probably have something back there which is probably not from here. But again, it's like brief moments in time when you have brief moments of high activity. You did have some people that were on a flat surface that were human, and you do have some that are definitely questionable. So I would say that, yeah, they did have some biologicals. Yeah, they did have some interesting times with them, but I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't prove it. I mean, I couldn't prove it. The the intense emotions that I feel are definitely, and it's not just from the biological, it's from the people that were working. So no, no. I'm really trying to stay away from the I'm trying to stay away from the emotional. I'm trying to stay away from the alien aspect of this. I mean, I don't mind looking at the UFOs and the gravity wells and all that stuff, but I want to stay away from the biologicals because humans and biologicals are usually, that's not a good combination. Um, I mean, humans versus humans. That's, you seen what we can do with our own people. Can you imagine what they would do with something that was alive that they wanted to know more about? Yeah, yeah, I'm sure it's not pretty. So, anyways, um, yeah, so I'm trying to stay away from any and all, the majority of the UFO aspect, like the pilots and the passengers. So, but emptying out one of those Dewar tanks would be really cool. That would probably be an interesting study. All right, guys, I'm gonna jet. Thank you very much for the target. Um, hopefully somebody with more skill can take a look and tell you what they see. But I'm seeing a whole lot of, well, I'm seeing a whole lot of military bases and really cool aspects that I'd love to go look at. So other than that, not much. So yeah, I'll do your target there. Um, but for you guys out there in YouTube land, thank you, and have a very good night. And I hope you guys actually do get to find your military base with your speed cruiser or sport cruiser, whatever the hell it's called. And like I said, it's somewhere in a higher altitude desert region, kind of like at the base of some foothills. Um, it's not hard to find. It's not an occupied place. It's they're out there, and I know there are military people and commercial people that know what's going on. So I would check with them first. Um, it would be a lot easier to actually get the answers from the military and the commercial side because they do have a lot more answers um, than than me. So thank you very much.